Welcome back to PS We're Exploring. Today we begin one of the most emotional journeys on our channel as we visit the Cape Coast Slave Castle in Cape Coast, Ghana.
Second by Danish, Christianborg Castle, 1661. And this is the third, British, 1664. Oldest castle age-wise, 544 years. Smallest Cape Coast, 362 years. But this edifice, it was built in stages. Portuguese were not here for slave trade. They came here, it was gold, ivory, spices business. When they were making more profits, they were looking for a land. This is the land that they built as trading lodge around 1555. They enjoyed monopoly for a very long time until 1637, when they were defeated by the Dutch in Albina. So they did not see the need to stay here. They just abandoned the lodge. 12 years later, Swedish built a fort at the same place. They named the fort after their king, King Carousberg V. But the fort changed hands of the dates. The Dutch, the local called Fetu before English. For addition, demolition, reconstruction, this was built over a period of 300 years. They used Africans as laborers. Materials, some were made locally, others were imported. Burnt bricks, marble stones, Oscar shells, lime powder, inch pan wood, and many others. But no cement, no iron rod. Cement work, as you see, iron rod, as you see going round, they are all resistant to development. Cape Coast Castle was built when the slave trade was at its height. So this was built purposely for triangular trade, also known as Transatlantic slave trade. But long before Europeans came, we had a system called indigenous slavery. They were not slaves in that they had the freedom to own their property, live a better life. If you have a chance, whether a male or female, to marry those who were not slaves, those with royalties, offspring were not slaves, you were no more a slave. But this one wasn't like that. They used several methods in acquiring them, and the slaves at the time were property to their owners. Forced capturing by Europeans, raiding and kidnapping, some through in the tribal conflict, others were debtors, and so on. But they worked barefooted from present-day Togo, Nigeria, Benin, Burkina Faso, all the West African countries. Slave markets like Salaga, Sangema, Atebubu, Kintampo. Sorry for the interruption. Let's open our story. What do you think of it? So Kintampo, Salaga, Sangema, the biggest among them, Salaga. But on arrival at the cinema show, the captives were found to have lost energy. They looked very weak and dirty. They therefore washed down in the river, known as Indonesian, meaning a slave river. For them to regain the lost energy, they were fed well with energy food. And also they apply a share bit of hemp oil on their skin. It's not original. A floor solidified, mixed with whatever I mentioned. 200, 1,000. It is estimated that about 1/3 died before the ship comes. Either they decided that they don't want to suffer, where at the point they will not eat, they will not drink, or they died of infection because of the mark that they received on their skin. Right, let's take a walk. Be careful, please. We are under the church. Above the dungeon was the church for British. Right in front of the church, this you can call a peephole or a spy hole. This is to keep eye on the enslaved Africans. When an officer is entering the church, when someone is around the hole, go in there, pray for your life, your business. When there is any unusual noise down here, that person will not see, but you hear through the peephole in front of the church. The name of the church was Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, and later renamed Anglican Church. or Church of England. So as we go out there to continue, we see the building or the structure still above the dungeon, but now converted as a library. Give the people here something at a time. Original opening like this is the remembrance escape because the brave ones attempted to run away. The record here, they were rearrested and punished. Last dungeon, let's come to the last chamber. So many people here, most of them from sisters, brothers in diaspora. Every 1st August emancipation. So we see more of this. In memory and honor of those who died. That is why we see the wreath there. And in the dungeon, they were held for 3 months. Once the ship arrived, they do the re-examination to look at their fitness once more. They will line them from the first dungeon, which was a strong section, to this, as they're sorting out. Here they look at the fitness. If you are not strong enough to travel, you wait for the next ship over here. If you are strong, you come here. When they are done with the grouping, the strong ones, they group them 5. They change them together, 10, change them together. They walk through underground tunnel.
We're on the road to reach 3,000 subscribers. Please subscribe and share. See you in part 2.